everybody. Welcome to the Am I Conversation series, presented by Loudwire and Ultimate Classic Rock. I'm your host, Ryan J. Downey. Thank you for coming out. Black Label Society, solo artist, Zack Sabbath, guitar player for Mr. Ozzy Osbourne, and my personal Irish Catholic priest. Ladies and gentlemen, Zakk Wylde.
Oh my! What's shaking, gang? Cheers, guys. Let's get this over with. I got an anal bleaching appointment to go to, and I got to shave my legs.
I forgot to include coffee entrepreneur in that list. There's so many credits.
Well, I got it here with me, so we're good to go.
So, sir, how are we?
I feel like I feel very vibrant, and I feel very sexy. We just got done rolling with the last two shows. Thank you very much. Thank you. The anal bleaching helps, as you can clearly see.
Indeed.
But no, just we just did the last two shows last night with the LA chapter. Cheers, guys. And yeah, there was a lot of hot rocking going on, so that was a good time. So now we're getting ready, knock out. I guess the next destination is some Zack Sabbath stuff right after this, and then more Black Label, and then obviously waiting for the glue to set in on the boss. And then we have him glued together and duct taped together, and we head back out in 2020 with Oz. So, that's it. Yeah.
And before we even get going here, I'm sure everybody here wants to know, how is the boss man? Have you checked in? Have you spoken to him recently?
I went down to the hospital to see him, and then he was just like, Zach, do me a favor. I said, what do you need, boss? He goes, tell these doctors the Elmer's glue is not cutting it anymore. I need a stronger adhesive, maybe some crazy glue with a mixture of Gorilla Glue. I said, okay. And he said, and another thing, when they wrap me up in the duct tape for the glue to settle, I don't like the shiny black duct tape. Tell them I want the flat black gaff tape. And I was like, all right, well, is there any particular reason? He said, I just think it looks cooler. I said, okay. So that's how I left it.
Fair enough.
So the glue setting in and the black, flat black duck, gaff tape is holding them together. So he looks more Fonzie cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Indeed. And you mentioned the Zack Sabbath thing, and obviously we're talking about Ozzy, as we'll be talking about a lot of things tonight. But tell me a little bit about how the Zack Sabbath thing started. I mean, it's a super group, more or less.
Yeah, well, we consider it more of a stupor group, but it's just three idiots up there doing Sabbath songs. No, it's just the funny thing is, I was telling Father Blasco and Joey, I go, it's amazing. I go, we were all like 16, 17 years old playing keg parties for our friends or playing in their kitchen. I've done those shows. Which is always nice, because when you're near the pantry, if you want to grab a bite to eat, you're right there, But, no, and it's just like you're doing Sabbath songs, and now I'm 52 years old, and we're still playing Sabbath songs at keg parties. But it's just a little bit bigger, so yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a good time, man, for sure.
And for those who don't know, Zack Sabbath is, of course, Mr. Wylde on guitar and vocals, and on bass is Blasco from Ozzy's band as well. Used to play with Rob Zombie and was in one of my favorite old crossover bands, Cryptic Slaughter. And then Joey Castillo, I mean, he's Queens of the Stone Age, Danzig, like he's played with.
Joey's crushing. Yeah, so I mean, and it's a good time. We all love getting together and and playing Sabbath. So I mean, it's a great night out.
And you just announced,
and a lot of dancing, So we can't.
You just did this crowdfunding thing. You guys are gonna recreate the debut Sabbath record, right? Tell me about that.
Yes. Blasco put this together. He said, Zach, it's 50 years of Sabbath, so why don't we just do the first album? And I said, okay, great. And he just goes, I said, so what's the point of it though? And he said, it just show how great that record is and how horrendous this album's going to be. I said, all right, good. I said, I'm in. I said, let's do it.
Yeah. And the idea, though, right, is that, when Sabbath made that legendary debut, they were essentially just going in and banging out their live set that they'd been doing in a matter of just a couple of days. And you guys are basically going to, go with the same sort of mentality. You're going to come right off the road, go in, 2-inch analog tape, and get that old vibe, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, and we want to keep it as, obviously, you don't want to, you have a budget, and, the majority of the money for me obviously goes towards anal bleaching appointments and shaving my legs. And, because I know sex sells, and that's what it's all about. You can run all the scales you want, know all the modes, that's all fine and dandy. But the anal bleaching and the shaving of the legs will bring you to the next level, and it apparently has. That's what got me the gig with Ozzy in the first place. There you go. Because all the other guys weren't willing to go there. They were, go fuck yourself. I ain't doing that. I said, I'll do it.
I think some of that was in the crowdfunding, right? Like the anal bleaching and leg
Yes.
shaving. If you
No. I mow as many lawns as I can possibly to do it. It comes out of my own money. No, because the rest of the guys are like, fuck you, we ain't paying for that.
So, you mentioned playing Sabbath songs at 16. Take us back to young Zack. What was some of the first music that turned you on that you discovered that made you think, like, this is going to be my life?
No, I think it's the same thing with everybody. I mean, it's what music moves you, and that's what you should be listening to. Like when somebody asks you, it's just like, well, why do you love Black Sabbath, or why do you love Led Zeppelin, or why do you love the Allman Brothers, or Elton John, or anything. Why do I like listening to Al Di Meola and John McLaughlin and Frank Marino and all the guys I love, Robin Trower, whatever. It's just because you enjoy it. It's like when the immortal beloved is taking care of business. And, she's fisting my prostate and smashing me into realms of pleasuredom. I don't dissect it. I just go, I enjoy this. I say, pick that thing up over there. It's a bit bigger. Try and see if that'll fit. But I mean, no, it's like you said, if it's whatever music moves you. And everyone always asks me that. They're just like, hey, Zach, you got any advice for my son or my daughter? I'm like, yeah, whatever music it is that you love and that moves you, and that you love listening to, and it brings you joy, that's what you should be doing. You know what I mean? Because I remember being, like if I was in the same position as some of the kids that are here at the school. I mean, it's a great breeding ground because you're around other amazing musicians. You can learn aside of your teachers. It's just nothing but nonstop music and learning. You're like a sponge. So, I mean that's what it's all about. But I mean, the whole thing is, I remember, Bon Jovi was huge, when I was, when Slippery When Wet came out in '85, when I was graduating high school. I mean, that's just gigantic. And the whole thing is, it was like, well, if you're not doing Bon Jovi music, then forget about it, And I was just like, yeah, but that's not what we're into. At least when Bon Jovi's doing it, like John and the guys, it's like they're into it and they love it, and that's what moves them, and that's what they're playing, and that's why it's real, and that's why it's successful. Because they're not faking it. They're just doing what they love. And I would just say that whatever is currently popular at the time, there was already a movement going on for like 4 years before it ever emerged and, became popular. So, I mean, it's like you have Bon Jovi's huge. And I mean, like I said, the same thing with John. He was like working, sweeping floors at a recording studio, doing demos and everything like that, trying to do his thing for years before anything ever happened. And then, so all of a sudden now it's, they're the biggest band in the world. And then now here comes Guns N' Roses. And it's just like, I'm sure every record company was telling them, you guys need to be more like Bon Jovi. No, I mean, it's like, seriously, because it's like, it's going to be an easier sell. I mean, like John, it's just like, you got Bon Jovi, and now here you got this band. We bang prostitutes and we sleep with porn stars and we do heroin and we drink as much, cocaine and booze as we possibly can. Is that okay? It's like, I don't know if they can say that. Can they? So it's just like, but Guns N' Roses just stuck to who they are. And then, you know, and here's Guns N' Roses, the biggest band in the world. The next thing comes out is when the grunge movement was going on.
I was just going to say, and the Nirvana,
it was like, yeah,
people were probably telling
they
them,
could be
you should be on
telling,
Guns N' Roses.
you know, Father Cornell just telling, you know, St. Chris over there, just saying, you need to be more like Axl.
Right.
Or you need to, but he's just like, but that's not what we do. We're not Guns N' Roses, you know what I mean? We like doing the, you know, the riffs that we're doing, and we like playing the music we're playing. And then when grunge became the biggest thing, I'm sure the Green Gate, you know, guys were being told, you need to be more like the grunge guys. And it's like, yeah, but we come from a whole, we dig all the punk rock stuff and everything like that. That's what we're into. And, you know, so the whole thing is you just got to play what you love and just stick to it. And, like, really, I mean, honestly, like, fuck everybody. I mean, just play what you like playing and just do that. You know?
To me, that's, yes.
That's the truth. I mean, I'm just saying Led Zeppelin played what they wanted to play. Black Sabbath played what they wanted to play. Elton John just did whatever he wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it didn't matter who's popular at the time. It's just like, well, do you like it? Yeah, I like it. Well, then good. That's all that matters.
To me, that's the most important thing with art, whether it's music, film, comedy, any type of creative expression, is authenticity. It doesn't have to be my point of view for me to connect to it. I just want it to have a point of view. And I think where things go wrong is when people start making decisions based on, oh, well, this is popular, that's popular. What if we did it like that? You know, that's where things get watered down. And so, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it sounds like the audience couldn't agree more.
Yeah. I mean, just whatever it is you love, that's what you should be doing, hands down.
So what were some of those first records that you fell in love with that really spoke to you?
I mean, I think, you know, obviously Elton John. I saw him play doing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds on the Sonny and Cher show. I guess that was 1975 because he was doing promoting the Captain Fantastic record, Brown Dirt Cowboy. So I remember seeing that, and it was like the first time I ever got chills. So, you know, and the power of music. So I was just like, and then after that, I just wanted to get every Elton John record and everything like that. And then after that, I remember I think I was like 12 years old. We were in 6th grade, and I remember my one buddy Tommy. He was he had this jawless skull that was just basically like, you know, the Black Label Scully now. So it was just this jawless skull with a lightning bolt going through, and it said Black Sabbath 666. And I was just like, what's that? And he just goes, oh, it's a band my older brother listens to. I was like, oh, wow, it looks really cool. So all I remember is I was at the record store with my mom, and my mom was like, oh, you can get a record. And I was like, all right, cool. So I ended up getting, you know, she could only get one record. So, of course, being the tool bag that I am, I ended up getting We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll because it's a double album. But it looked like, you know, it's a single record, you know. So, but I remember just putting a needle on because I'd never heard him. So I just, you know, I'm just going based off of that, the skull and the lightning bolt going through it, and then the cool band name. And I was just like, put it on. And I remember Black Sabbath came on, and I was like beyond terrified and shit my pants. And, you know, and like, you know, and to this day, when I hear it, you know, when I'm around Oz, I shit my pants as well, you know. So there's a lot of that going on, you know. Like when I auditioned for Oz, I remember he was like, you know, first thing I did is I shit my pants and met him. And then he said, Zach, just play with your heart. And then make me a ham sandwich and go light on the mustard. I said, okay. And he said, and definitely change your trousers because something stinks. And so, you know, so it's been that ever since. 30 years of shitting my pants and making ham sandwiches and going light on the mustard. But, no, it'd have to be, you know, Sabbath and Zeppelin. And the crazy thing is, just not too long ago, me and my wife, Barbara Ann, we renewed our vows, right? And so everybody was there. Oh, cheers, man. You know, but so yeah, I mean, I've known my wife since 6th grade, but I mean, the whole thing is this: it's just like so we renewed the vows and everything. Then we all went out and got something to eat, and then we went to go see Elton afterwards. And then Mom, you know, Mrs. Osbourne, Sharon has known Elton for years, so she's like, oh, Zach never met him. So I went back there, and here I am meeting Elton, and I actually had a book my parents got me for Christmas, and it was from 1975, this book. I've had this book since 1975, and I actually got him to sign it, right? So, but the whole thing is, I'm sitting there looking at Ozzy, and I'm looking at Elton John, and I'm sitting here right here with him, and I'm like going, this is fucking insane, man. I was just like going, this is like beyond fucking Fonzie cool. And I'm like, you know, because between Sabbath and Elton John, it's like my whole everything. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And then Elton got me up and punched me in the fucking jaw and just said, "Now get the fuck out of the room and take your fucking book with you." I was like,
Change your trousers.
and Ozzy said, "Yeah, change your trousers. You just shit your pants again." But no, it was pretty mind blowing for sure.
Do you recall? You talked about, of course, auditioning for Ozzy. Do you remember what some of the first few songs were that you played the first time you were in the room?
Yeah, we did like I Don't Know, Bark at the Moon, Suicide Solution, Crazy Train, probably. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and those, I would imagine those songs still give you the same feeling night after night.
Without a doubt.
You know?
I love playing them every time, especially when I'm up there with the boss and everything like that. It's just without a doubt. I'm truly blessed, without a doubt.
Yeah. Let's talk about this Black Label thing that you just did. That's not so much a remix, remaster, or as a reimagining, a rebrewed.
Oh yeah, reblended.
Reblended.
But no, the whole thing is when me and the filthy one, Phil Ondich, we recorded the record and it was on 2-inch. I remember Doug Henning, the famous magician, he came into the studio and we were like, "Oh my God, it's Doug Henning, right?" And he was just like, he goes, "Fellas, I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to show you some magic." I said, "Okay, cool." So he put a towel over the 2-inch reels and then he just said, "Abracadabra," and he just pulled the towel off and the 2-inch reels were gone. And we're like, "Oh, that was pretty cool." And he was just saying, "Hey guys, you know where the bathroom's at?" And he went to the bathroom. And that was the last time we saw him. So the 2 inches are gone, and obviously Doug passed away, so there is no 2 inches, and there's no more Doug. So I mean, we have nothing. So no, basically there are no 2 inches, so we have nothing to mix.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what we had to do is take the CD and actually add. Jeff had to go in there and actually double Phil's drums, so there's something to mix. So like we could bring drums up or, to fill out the bottom. And JD had to play with my bass. He had to double the whole bass. So this way we could bring up bass and stuff like that. So, because I didn't want to get rid of the performances because what's the point? I don't want to re-record the record. That cuts into anal bleaching and it cuts into shaving of the legs. So, but the whole thing is, so that's what we had to work on. So, yeah, but the guys did a great job. JD did an amazing job, and Adam of basically filling it in and just making it add more bottom and add more body to it. So, it came out cool.
One of the things that as a rock student of rock history, one might say, that I enjoy about the evolution of Black Label and your career and everything is that little window in time where you were playing with Guns N' Roses. And that was like, I feel like it's probably more comfortable to talk about now that Slash and Duff and everyone's back together. But this was during that weird transition for them when the band we all knew started morphing into what became the Chinese Democracy thing. You were in there, what was it, a couple weeks?
No, I had known the guys on and off for years when I first came out here and I started playing with the boss. So I had met Slash and I met Duff and then, we became friends and everything like that. And then that's when Guns was just starting to blow up. And then, so I've known the guys and obviously when I ran into them every now and then when we're all drinking and whatever, it's just like, it's always good to catch up with the guys and everything like that. So, but then, I'd never met any, and I knew Steven. So, and then after I met Matt, when he was playing with the Cult and everything, so everybody's just like a small group of people that you end up running into, and you just become friends and stuff like that. So, but no, I remember the guys were just talking one day, and Axl was telling me I'd never met Axl before, and Axl was just saying, him and Slash were talking like, well, who else would you want to get on guitar? And like, I guess my name came up, and well, why don't we ask Zakk what's going on? He said, and Axl was like, all right, you know what, I'll call him up. And so Axl ended up getting my phone number and called me up. He said, "Hey, Zakk, man, it's Axl. I was just wondering if you want to get together and jam with the guys." And I said, "Yeah, no problem, So we ended up jamming, and because this is when we were recording Osmosis at the time, and so we were jamming on and off, and then with so it was just like we were recording the record, and we were doing Osmosis, having a blast doing that, and then in between when I'd come back out to L.A., I'd end up hooking up with the guys and we jammed down in, rehearsal hall and everything like that. So it was just ideas floating around and everything like that. So, but nothing was happening there, with the Guns guys. And then Oz was going, Zack, listen, we're going to get ready to tour and everything like that. Are you going to jam? Oz was like, you can do both. But I mean, like, Oz, Zack, I got to have an answer. If you're going to be jamming with them and me, this ship leaves 12 o'clock Monday. I mean, are you going to be ready to go or not? So it was just like, I couldn't get an answer from the fellas, and everything was up in the air. And Oz was like, Zack, I got to get somebody else in here, man. So that was it. So, so I was just sitting around going, all right, well, what am I going to do? I got all these riffs laying around, and I got I'm not playing with Oz right now. I'm not doing a GNR thing. It's like, fuck it. I'll just do, and then I came up with Black Label Society. So that's basically how Black Label was born right there. It was just, well, what am I going to do? Because at the time, I did the Book of Shadows thing, and I was just kind of like, I'm not ready to be a singer-songwriter, James Taylor kind of guy. I'm not ready for that yet. As much as I love doing it, I was just like, I still want to do riffs, and I still want to do heavy stuff. So, mixed in with the mellow stuff as well, obviously. But
yeah, there was a big gap between Book of Shadows and Book of Shadows 2.
Yeah, well, 20 years or something like that. But I mean, so then, that was pretty much how Black Label was born out of that.
Yeah, I just think it's amazing, Ozzy being such an icon and a legend, and Guns N' Roses being, and how each of them play a role in the story of what, of course, is now BLS, a band that we all love, and has been influential in its own
without
right.
a doubt. I mean, if it wouldn't be for Ozzy, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So and I'm still friends with all the Guns guys and everything like that. We've opened up for them a couple. Black Label's opened up, and then with the Book of Shadows stuff, we opened up for Guns N' Roses at Arizona Stadium. So I'm still all buddies with all the guys, and everything's good, man.
Yeah. Now, when I think about the different Ozzy lineups, of course, the late, great Randy Rhoads, and, there's been a lot of great players that have come through. But at this point, it's like you're really that consistent other face that's up there on stage. And so I'm curious, as whether it was Rob Trujillo, Jason Newsted, obviously Blasco, who you're very tight with, Mike Borden, all the different people that you've played with in Ozzy's band. What's it like when a new person comes in? Is there kind of a hazing ritual? Are you sort of, are you the guy sitting down and showing them parts? And
no, I just show them how to make ham sandwiches and go light on the mustard in case I'm not around. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no hazing. I mean, it's just that.
Yeah, the ham sandwiches.
It's camaraderie, and then you help the other guy. That's all. But it's just it's just no. I mean, everybody. I mean, I've never been in a band where we didn't enjoy hanging out with each other. I can honestly say that.
Yeah.
With Jason, I'm still buddies with Jason. I mean, everybody. I mean, Robert Trujillo, Mikey Borden. I mean, all the fellas. I'm still. They're great friends. I love them all. So I mean, and I've loved playing with every one of them. So and we still run into each other. We just ran into at Ozzy's birthday. Everybody was there, so it was just great catching up with everybody. So no, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's like a fraternity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's awesome.
Like veterans, you were all in the
without
shit
a
together.
doubt. And totally. And everybody looks out for everybody.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit earlier before we came out about the Vatican, about your studio that you've built here in California, and just sort of how things have changed and evolved from back in the day of these extravagant, overindulgent record-making processes to the way things happen now. Could you talk a little bit about that, sort of because you have a unique vantage point as somebody who's been successful in sort of the old way of doing things and the new way of doing things. How things have changed and gone.
Well, I think it's, like how everybody's, put it this way, when I was, when I was 18 years old and, everybody's trying to get a record deal. It just, basically, if you didn't get a record deal by the time you're 30 years old, the dream is over. Like you could basically just get a haircut, get a job that you're miserable at, and that's it. Whatever. So the whole thing is, whereas nowadays with social media and everything like that, like you can just do it yourself, man. And I'm just saying, start your own mom and pop shop and do it yourself. You know, because I mean, like when you really think about it, like back in the day, to get a record deal, it's really a bank loan. It's a loan.
Yeah. A shitty
I mean,
bank
yeah,
loan
I mean,
at
but
that.
no, but it's not that it's a shitty loan. I mean, nothing for nothing. The record companies are advancing you the money because they believe in you, because they, you know, we think we can make money with you. You know what I mean? So it's never, you know, it isn't us against the record company. You should never have that shitty attitude. It should be like, look, we're going to front you this money, and you're going to pay it back. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, and we want you to be huge, because the huger you are, that means more money for us. So, you know, I mean, that's the way it works. And I mean, but the thing is this, because if that's the way it goes, you might as well just have I'm looking back on it now, you go out and take a business loan for $100,000 and invest it in your band with you and your buddies. I mean, it's the same difference.
Yeah, except in that instance, you're not just paying it back from your meager share of the royalties. That's paying back all the money that was invested.
Yeah, well, you're
what I meant
cutting
about it being
everybody
shitty.
out. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
you and the guys, or
Yeah.
you know, whoever. I mean, if your parents help you sign for a business loan, you know, and whether you were starting a bar, or you were starting a coffee house, or you're starting a Waffle House, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm just saying, you'd get an advance and you pay it back. You know, monthly. You make monthly payments, and I mean, in the meantime, you got that money, and we figure out how we're going to make the band successful. You buy a van, a U-Haul, and we start touring. That's it. You know what I mean? And just do it yourselves. And and fuck relying on anybody. You know what I mean? Whether you get to open up for anybody, you don't even, like, if you get something and it comes along, good for you. If you get a break or whatever. But aside of that, don't look for handouts and don't ask for people to, and, you know, just do it yourself, man. And just keep plowing ahead and just fuck everybody. I mean, it really, that's what you got to do, you know, because otherwise you're going to be thoroughly let down. You know what I mean? Just never rely on anybody. Just like it's you and the band, and then your success, then you're never pointing fingers. This one did that one did this, and the record company screwed it. There is none of that, man. You should be accountable, and you should be on top of everything to begin with. You know what I mean? So there should never be you getting ripped off. Because I mean, when I look back on whenever I've been scammed or I ever got fisted or anything like that in a business deal, it's just because you weren't on top of it, or you assumed, oh, this guy, he's going to take care of it. Never assume anybody's taking care of anything, you know, because that's when you're going to get fucked. And just don't do it. Exactly. That's the truth.
Zach's team wanted to know if I would be able to get him to be serious tonight, and I have.
Yes. Yes. That half inch is always good.
So we
Especially for the prostate exam.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome. So I had an opportunity to go to, and some of you may have seen it online or something too, but the roast of Zakk Wylde a few years back, which was a lot of fun.
Yes, without a doubt.
You are a very funny guy.
That's what I try to tell the wife.
So, well, I'm curious.
She's not laughing.
I'm curious where comedy fits in with, you know, because you make very serious music, you know, heavy riffs and emotional song. You know, you have a very serious side, but obviously comedy and having a good time is a big part of your life. I'm curious where that comes from.
No, just once again, it's just like just doing what we feel like doing. I mean, you know, like JD knocked me out again. We're gonna do some skit. You know what I mean? It's just like somebody actually.
You've seen
asked
the
me,
knockout videos, right?
Yeah, somebody actually asked me. They were like, "Do you have somebody write these things?" I was like, "These stupid fucking skits we're doing. Are you kidding me? I'm not gonna pay anybody for this shit."
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, stop. But I mean, no. I mean, no. It's just us being a bunch of goofballs, man. You know what I mean? You know, just being on it, just you hanging out with your friends.
Did you have funny people in your family? Was there, you know, were there comedy albums that you listened to, or, you know, was it movies, or where do you think that comes from?
Just an idiot, you know. it's natural, you know. It's just not, just like I said, with the music that you love, just play what naturally comes out of you, and just if you're a moron, just do what moronically comes out of you. You know, there's no faking it. It's natural. Yeah. It's like a bodily function. It just do it, you know.
So we were talking about, you know, you can't have you up here without talking about riffs in general. When you're writing, how do you know if something, like, okay, this is, I'm going to, maybe submit this as a part of an Ozzy song, or this is a Black Label thing, or this is maybe going to be a Zach James Taylor thing. How do you sort of determine what fits where?
Well, obviously, if it's a Pride and Glory thing and there's banjos floating around, I know I'm not going to present that to the boss. You know what I mean? It's just, exactly. You're still not drinking, are you? You know what I mean? But no, I think, I mean, any of the Black Label stuff, I mean, I could play it for the boss. He sings on it. I mean, it's a new Ozzy song, as far as because it's not that far off. You know what I mean? I mean, the Pride and Glory thing was more, walking in waters of, Allman Brothers and Skinner and Marshall Tucker or stuff like that. But and heavy riffs and stuff like that. But with the Black Label stuff, or I mean, like look at when we did Mama I'm Coming Home or Road to Nowhere or any of the mellow stuff, it's just a mellow song, and Oz would go, "What's that, Zach?" I go, "Oh yeah, check it out." I mean, like Mama, I think originally we wrote that on the piano. Then when we got in the studio, I put the country bend on there, and I just transposed it because it was in E major, and I just wrote that guitar line. So but I mean the way it's always been with the boss. I mean I just write some riffs or whatever. And he's like, "Zachy, what is that one? Like Miracle Man or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Just keep playing that. What part's the vocal on?" And start singing right there. All right, cool. Just keep playing it. And then I mean with Oz, I mean it's just like usually the first thing he sings over everything is always it. Like he never usually sings something and then goes back and he's like, "I'm not happy with that." Usually he knocks it out of pretty much, I'd say 99, 98% of the time. It's that high that the first melodies that he comes up with are just crushing,
Amazing. Now, of course, Sabbath did their final tour. Ozzy was in the midst of, you guys were doing the No More Tours 2, which will be picking back up next year. I have seen a few things here and there, and I'm sure obviously you can't make a definitive statement about it, but Ozzy has talked about wanting to do another record. Has there been much discussion about that, and do you have stuff for it?
Right now it's just been show mode and, just doing the shows and but no, like not long sound checks where we're, there's some riffs going up. But Ozzy's like, "Oh, what's that?" And here's Miracle Man or something. I mean, so. But no, there's nothing like that right now. But if Oz is like, Zach, you got any riffs laying around? Or you got anything? It's like, yes, Oz here. Check this out or whatever. It's like, all right, cool. So, I mean, that's the way we've always done it in the past. You know what I mean? So it's just like get together in the room and just jam some stuff and whatever Oz is happy with, then we'll go with. But no. I mean, if it's that, we'll wait until we get to that. That'll be a bridge that we cross when we get there. But like right now, we're just focusing on the shows.
Yeah, so it's kind of if it happens.
With Oz waiting on the Gorilla Glue and the Crazy Glue to set back in, so get him back out there.
Indeed. Well, I think I can speak for all of us. I'd love to hear another Ozzy record with you and your songwriting collaborations.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
him
it's
and
always.
stuff.
I mean, like I said, I've always had a great time making every album we've ever worked on. I've always had a great time. So how could you not? You're playing music and you're doing what you love.
Yeah, and Ozzy Osbourne standing next to you.
Exactly. Yeah, no, life doesn't suck. That's for sure.
So guys, we have a couple of microphones set up here. If you've been to these before, you know how this rolls. You can just kind of line up. We'll take some questions. This gentleman in the Black Label shirt is up to bat. If you just tell us your name and your question.
Hi, I'm Dylan Castiglione.
Cheers, Father Bill. What are you doing, buddy?
And so I've seen you a few times, and in the past,
he was thoroughly disappointed even more each and every time.
So in the past, I've seen you with Zack Sabbath and even Black Label like a year ago, and you've always walked through the crowd with your really long cable. And I saw you on Wednesday night and at Generation Axe down in Anaheim, and you had a wireless system. I was wondering, is there any sort of change that's happening from wired to wireless?
Well, the wireless is my wife has me on that one. On the when I'm not on wireless, when it's a cable, that's the wife cable, and then and the wireless, that's when she says, "Well, let him go out and have a little bit of fun with the fellas." So No, it just the cable thing. It just before we had the wireless, it was the cable thing, and not too long ago, one of the and usually it's always cool because actually the crowd, everybody gets involved with the show because as I'm rolling around, everybody's got to be carrying the cable and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool that everybody's in on the whole shtick. So, but the whole thing is that we were doing one of the Zack Sabbath shows, and I'm sitting out there jamming, and Stevie, who takes care of the fiddles, he was right behind me, and he's pulling the cable. I couldn't move. I was like, Steve, just like the cable's either it's stuck on something or whatever. He starts yanking it like and pulling it, and then the guitar goes out. I'm looking down at the guitar. Maybe I figured I got unplugged or the volume. I turned the volume off or something. I look down at the guitar. I'm looking back at Steve. He's looking at me. He's pulling on the thing, and then he keeps reeling it in like it's a fishing line, and we got a 35-foot great white at the end of this line. He pulls it back, and he gets to it. Somebody just chewed right through the friggin' guitar cable. Hey, booze. It's a hell of a drug. But I mean, yeah, just bit right through it, man. Just hammered out of his mind. It just gnawed right through it. But yeah, so I mean, but aside of that, usually that doesn't happen. Yeah, everybody's usually had something to eat before the gig.
Well, thank you.
That was a great question. Thank you. All right, we're going to head over here.
What were your thoughts when you first heard Van Halen?
What's my thoughts on what?
Van Halen.
When you first heard of him?
Oh, on King Edward? I mean, how could you say anything? I mean, he completely changed the world, man, without a doubt. I mean, it's just hands down, without a doubt. And I mean, because you got to figure, aside of the guitar playing, it's the tone. He changed how people viewed amplifiers, modifying amps, and then guitars. Because I mean, you got to remember, like, I mean, because pretty much the only show in town when King Edward came out was Gibson and Fender. And, and this whole movement was going on out here in California at the time. Because you had Grover Jackson, you had Carl Sandoval, you had all these amazing guitar luthiers and young guys, and it's like this booming guitar thing going on. So, and like Eddie was, obviously, all those guys were doing it at the same time. I mean, which was it was really a magical time in guitar at that time. I mean, being that we all love guitar and the history of it. When you look at from Chuck Berry and Duane Eddy, because those guys were the ones that inspired, Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, and Jeff Beck, and all the guys that we love, and then they influenced King Edward, St. Rhodes, George Lynch, and all the guys and so you had the big three back, when you had Clapton, Page, and Beck in England, and here they are 10 years removed. You had King Edward, St. Rhodes, and you had, Pontiff Lynch over there. I mean, those were the next big three. I mean, they really were. Out here in L.A., it was like they were the Beck, Clapton, and Page, hands down. And so, but like it was really an amazing time for guitar. So, I mean, it's just that whole span. I mean, leading into the 80s and everything like that. So, but yeah, he changed everything, man, hands down. I mean, it's not even, you can't even argue it. You know what I mean? It's just like, without a doubt, changed everything. And on top of it, the amazing songwriting. It's not just that he can shred on the guitar and play fast. I mean, it's because he's speaking. So I mean, it's just the songwriting, the technique, the guitar tone, the way he changed guitars, the paint jobs, everything. I mean, it's just everything was just beyond crushing. Hands down.
He's played some of the most famous keyboard parts.
Without it,
in
that
rock
too.
music.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
It's
like
him,
the
guitar hero.
songwriting. It's not just about the guitar playing. It's just songwriting too.
Absolutely. All right, let's head over here.
Zach, what's up, man? Huge honor, dude. Seriously, it's fucking fantastic to meet you, dude. I don't really know what this question is. I know you and Dimebag were close. I just kind of want to talk about that a little bit. You know what I mean? What happened to him, how it affected you, the music industry and all that. And just on a personal note, I heard that you were possibly going to be doing a reunion before Vinny died. I think that nobody else in the fucking planet could have done that justice like you could. So that's what's up.
I mean, like
But,
when
as far as all
when
that shit,
when the
man.
guys were actually talking about like doing a reunion thing, and like my name got, because I'm friends with all the guys, so But the way I always viewed it, there is no replacing Dimebag. Like there's no replacing St. Rhodes. I mean, every night that we're up there, and we play Crazy Train, and we play Suicide Solution, we play Mr. Crowley, we're celebrating Randy's greatness and his legacy. So it's a celebration of how awesome he is. So I mean, I always considered it like it would be no different than Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell asking Eric Clapton, Eric, would you go out? We're going to go out and celebrate Jimmy, and we want you to play and sing all of Jimmy's stuff. And because Eric was good buddies with Jimmy, so he'd like, why would he say no to that? He'd be like, of course, I love Jimmy. Of course, I'll play and sing all Jimmy's stuff. And and the three of them, and there's no replacing Jimmy. It's Eric up there honoring Jimmy's greatness and his legacy. So I mean that's the way I always viewed it. If we were ever going to do that, I just said, obviously you can't replace Dime, just like you can't replace Randy, because they're unique and super special people. So no, to me it was just like it would be a massive celebration of Dime and all the mountains that Pantera conquered, without a doubt. That's the way I always viewed it. And Dime would be looking down going, you fucked that note up and you fucked that one up too. I'm counting them.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Zach. It's
What's
great
going
to
on,
meet you. I'm Loud Lloyd. My question is, what was your very first guitar, and do you still have it?
Oh, my very first guitar? Actually, I do have my very first Gibson that I learned on. It was a Pelham Blue SG, a Firebrand, and that was like the first one I ever had. So pretty much the bulk of countless hours of running scales were on that guitar. So I have that one. But I mean, I always ask, and it's always a good question because I always ask all my buddies that play guitar. I'm like, oh, do you still have that, that piece of shit, Fender copy or whatever, you had back in the day because you were like a huge Robin Trower fan or what, my buddy Frank or something like that. He's just like, dude, I ended up finding a guy who I sold it to, and I ended up getting it back. You know what I mean? So like those are like always great stories, and it doesn't matter if the guitar's the biggest pile of garbage on the planet. It's the fact of the connection that you have with that guitar. You're like, Zach, I've learned how to play Smoke on the Water on this guitar. You know what I mean? So
That guitar hugs you back.
yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it has its life of its own. You know what I mean? So yeah, just your childhood memory guitars. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I definitely have a bunch of them for sure.
That's
Cheers,
awesome.
brother.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
How you doing, brother?
My name's Tyler. Nice to meet you.
I got you, man.
I was wondering if you've ever found yourself struggling creatively, whether it's writing riffs or lyrics or anything like that, and like how you pull yourself out of it, and find the drive to write again and the inspiration.
With writing and stuff like that, I mean, usually, like, I don't know. I mean, I think with everybody, like if you could just be sitting alone in your room, pick up your acoustic guitar and start writing a song. You could listen to Wild Horses by the Stones, could be on the radio, and then you just sit down and go, oh, like it inspires you to write something in that vein. That'll be the spark, and so it's either that or you just the first thing you pick up, you know what I mean, or you just start playing and just just magic comes out, man. That's the beautiful thing about music, you know what I mean? So it's endless. It really is, you know what I mean? It just really, really is endless. And then you listen to other great players, and you can't help but get inspired by people that excel at what they do, So no, I never, I mean, I always look forward to going in and making records and writing and doing, and usually when we do the records, I'll be like, I'll find out how much time we have before we're going to do another record. It's like we'll get off the road, and it's just like you got about another month before the fellas get out here. It's like, all right, well, I got a month to write a record. So this way, if I told you have like 5 months to get in shape for a movie, because you got to have ripped abs and you got to be super ripped for this movie, you're like, all right, well, Zach, we'll go out for pizza tonight, and then tomorrow I'll start my diet. You got 5 months. So, but you have, you know what I mean? There's a deadline that you got, and then you do it. You know what I mean? You just apply yourself and you make it happen. So, if you know, I'll call you up every day and just go, did you get anything yesterday? You know, and you're like, nah, I got a couple riffs, but nothing really stood out. I mean, I got one thing I like, kind of, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, cool. So the way I look at it, there's like a 2-mile radius out here. We'll start digging over here for some dinosaur bones. And if we don't find anything, you know, we'll go out, get something to eat, and we'll start tomorrow. And, you know, we'll dig over here. But they're out there. It's just a matter, you just got to put in the work and keep digging. And don't get discouraged. You know what I mean? Because if you're not getting anything that you're happy with, you just keep going, man. You know, because I you know, it's funny reading about Lord Iommi. I guess when they were doing Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, like Oz was saying, you know, it was almost like, you know, stump the chump on each record, because every record, you know, he's writing these just insane, unbelievable, mind-blowing masterpiece riffs, you know, like these Bach, Beethoven, Mozart masterpiece riffs, whether it's Into the Void and all these Snowblind, whatever it is. So like Ozzy was saying, like each record was a bigger bench press. So it was like kind of like when they go in for the next record, they were like, well, let's see what he's going to pull out of his ass for this one. You know what I mean? What other insane greatness that he's going to come up with. And I guess after they did Volume 4, I was reading, you know, with Tony's book, he said that, you know, they did it out here in California. They had a great time, and it was a blast after they did Snowblind, so, I mean, the Volume 4 record. So, and, you know, there's like Supernauts on that record. You know, I mean, there's so many, you know, Wheels of Confusion. There's so many Snowblind, everything like that. There's so many monumental riffs and songs on that record. So when they went in to do Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, like Tony said, they came back out here to the same place where they did the Volume 4 record, figuring, oh, we had a great time, we'll do it again. And he couldn't come up with anything. Like, you know, I mean, not that he couldn't come up with anything, but nothing that he was happy with. You know what I mean? And then, so they said, look, the hell with this. So they just left California. They ended up going to some, like, castle that had, like, it was just dungy and cold and damp and whatever. And they were down in the basement of this castle. And they just had the amp set up down there, and like the first thing he kind of wrote was like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, or something like that. And then he said after he wrote that riff, everything just kept pouring out right after that. And you know, so you know, I just think, yeah, and like you said, you just keep writing until you get something you're happy with. You know, I mean, if you ever feel like you're getting writer's block, you know what I mean. But or you just put it down for a little while and walk away. You know, so that's
Amazing.
Cheers,
Amazing.
brother.
Thank you.
Oh, no, please. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Hold on, John. Father guy. Security.
Hey, Zach. Excellent concert last night at El Rey.
Oh,
Loved
thank you
it.
very much.
And before I ask
We're
the
just
question,
glad the tape machine didn't break while we were up there.
before I ask the question, since we have everybody here, let's tell Ozzy, can we have one big get well card for him? Everybody want to say get well soon, Ozzy?
Well, yeah.
Get well soon, Ozzy. All right.
All right. Make sure the boss gets that. Cheers. Thanks, Tom.
Question is, what was your reaction the first time you heard the final mix of the No More Tears album?
Well, I mean, actually, the first time I heard Miracle Man was on the radio when I was out here when the album came out, and it was on the radio when I pulled into a 7-Eleven, and somebody had it. It was on the radio, and they were cranking it, and like they didn't know it was me. I just got out and I was going in to get something, and but it was pretty cool hearing it on the radio. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was the first time I heard Miracle Man and everything like that. But yeah. But I mean, as far as No More Tears goes, yeah, when Michael Wagner, you know, with John and Dwayne, we, you know, God bless his soul, Father Dwayne over there. But no, we had a blast making that record. I mean, like I said, I've always had a great time making the records with all the guys because they're all just good people that are making the records, and we always have a blast. So, but no, Dwayne and John, we had a blast making a record, and then Michael Wagner ended up mixing it, and I remember hearing it after Mike got done mixing it. I was like, wow. You know, just how great it sounded. So yeah, I was just definitely floored because Mike's amazing as well. So I was definitely when I still hear it, you know, I'm like, wow, it came out really good.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, Don.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes, sir.
How you doing, my man?
Oh no.
So we meet again. So who would you recommend for this anal bleaching? Because my man Eddie Solana down here from Forgotten Legion.
Actually,
you know, he recommended a guy for me, and when I woke up, I couldn't sit down or walk for a week.
well, it's funny you mention that, Father John, because you know how we have the Wild Audio guitars, we have the Valhalla Java coffee, now we have the Black Label anal bleaching kit. That's coming out next. So cheers.
I will be on the lookout for that, and I'll get a year's supply. Anyway, my real question is, how did you get
That's not the real question. There's more.
Well, that's the important question, but how did you get the gig with the Allman Brothers?
Actually, how that came about was actually my wife Barbara Ann worked at William Morris, and the agent Johnny Podell has been their agent since the beginning of the Allman Brothers. Yeah, she knew that, you know, I mean, Johnny knew because of Barb that I was a huge Allman Brothers fan. So when Dickie couldn't do the show, they were like, well, they didn't want to cancel the show, but they were like, well, you know what, Zack's a huge Allman Brothers fan. Maybe Zack could just fill in for the show, you know what I mean? So that's how it came about. But I remember Barbara Ann had to drive over some money for Greg Allman, right? They were like, Barb, can you do me a favor? Here's an envelope with some cash. We need you to drive it over to Greg's house. And so Barb's like, okay, you know, so she ends up driving over to Greg's house and goes like this, he gives the cash, and he was like, hey, Blondie, what's up? And Barb's like, oh, you know, my boyfriend, you know, he's a huge fan of yours, and he just really loves your voice, and he just loves the Allman Brothers, and he just goes, oh, that's great. Does your boyfriend play in a band on? And he goes, Barb's like, yeah, he plays with Ozzy Osbourne, you know, and Greg's like, man, I love that Jeffrey Osborne's voice. He's got such a beautiful voice. And then Barb goes, no, Ozzy Osbourne. He goes, Ozzy Osbourne. He goes, well, that's the guy that bit the head off a bat, didn't he? And he goes, darling, I've done some drinking in my day, but I'd never bite the head off a goddamn bat. You know what I mean? It was just, but it was great. Oh, that Jeffrey Osborne, he's got a beautiful voice.
Awesome, priceless.
Yeah, it's pretty good though, man.
Right.
Awesome. Actually, when I met, you know, it's so funny because obviously the Allmans are like heroes of mine as well. You know, because everybody always asks you, like, whenever you meet your musical heroes, you know, the worst would be, you know, you meet one of them and they're the biggest tool bag, so you could never listen to their music again. You know what I mean? So I've been truly blessed in that department, that everybody I've ever met, whether it's Frank Marino, Greg Allman, Robin Trower, you know, the boss, Tony and Geezer and old Bill and all the guys, you know, or Jimmy Page or any, you know, like any of the guys I love, like, yeah, I got truly lucky. So, you know, it wasn't, they were all super cool. But, yeah, the Allman Brothers are great, man.
That's great, thank you. And
Cheers,
likewise,
man.
situation meeting you, fantastic. You're such a great dude.
Cheers, my brother.
Love your
right
music.
back at you.
Awesome.
And I'll get that anal bleaching kit to you as well, Father John. Yes. Cheers, my brother.
Hey, Zach. Saw you play a couple nights ago with Sonic Brew.
Oh, very cool, man.
Any plans to do the same with Stronger Than Death?
Actually, I'm trying to think, but we used to do 13 Years of Grief, All For You. I think Rust we did at the Unblackened thing. But no, we haven't had that album in the set for a little while. That one hasn't been in. But, you know, the funny thing is, because we got, I mean, what are we up to now? Like 10 records or whatever. It's just that, you know, 20 years of doing it. So, I mean, the whole thing is, I mean, put it this way, it's not as bad as the Rolling Stones when we have to come up with a set list, you know what I mean? But the whole thing is, unless we look at the set list, I mean, we're up to like 17 songs now, but the whole thing is, if you start going over that, you're either going to have to start selling cots and Black Label tents and sleeping bags out at the merch stand, you know what I mean? So it's just, yeah. You know, it's like a session with the immortal beloved. Are you done yet? Are you done? You know what I mean? So if it just keeps going on and on and on, you know what I mean? But, no, I mean, usually we just try and condense, have a little bit of every record that, you know, just try and put a little bit of everything in there, you know? So, but no, we'll probably bring something back from that thing. Cheers, brother.
Awesome. Yes, sir.
Hey, Zach, my name's Tasso. Thank you for your career. huge inspiration. You mentioned Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart earlier in the conversation.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, do you listen to classical music, and specifically, if you listen to classical guitar, who do you look up to?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously Christopher Parkening, Elliot Fisk is like beyond insane. Yeah, but I mean, like I listen to everything. You know what I mean? Whether it's like classical guitar, or or like I listen to John McLaughlin, or you can listen to Al Di Meola and Paco and all the guys and everything like that. But yeah, I usually listen to everything, man. You know what I mean? It's out of all the the stuff that I think we all listen to the same, pretty much music that we listened to when we were 14 or 15. All that, you're on a steady diet of that. You know what I mean? All the stuff, because you have certain memories attached to certain records and everything like that. I mean, that's a beautiful thing about music. Or movies and stuff like that. It just drifts you right back in time. Like whenever I hear Diary of a Madman, I know exactly where I was and what was going on. Like the first time I heard Over the Mountain, we were like, oh my God, what is this? You know what I mean? So, or You Can't Kill Rock and Roll and everything like that. So, but yeah, like I said, I listen to everything. I'll put, like singer-songwriter radio on like my phone and stuff like that. And just, I'll hear like all these artists that I would never have heard before, and then I'll be like, oh, well, I'll take a screenshot of it and I'll start listening to them. But, yeah, I mean, because usually I'll listen to some other stuff that's just outside of what I do. You know what I mean?
Cool. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, my brother.
Hey, Zach, how's it going?
What's going on, brother?
Pretty good, man. Hey, I just want to say thank you for, your music career.
Cheers, brother.
I'm in a club. I'm president of my club, so when we do a pageant ceremony, we use 3 of your songs,
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
man.
so I want to say thank you for that. Also, too, I want to give you some shirts from my motorcycle awareness clothing company that I have.
You got it.
So I just want to say thank you, man. I know you ride, and, from the bottom of my heart, I want to give it to you and let you know that I appreciate your music, man.
Oh, great. Right.
So.
Sneaky.
Thanks, brother.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing, Zach? My name is Tyler, and it is actually really surreal to be standing in front of you. You're actually one of my biggest influences. I'm a guitarist myself. One thing I've noticed, I saw you Generation X. Let me ask my dad over there. When would he see Generation X? Was it at the Wiltern? Yeah, it was at the Wiltern. And one thing I noticed is I hate trolls like these, like, oh, Zach has no emotion in his playing. He can't do this, blah, 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 blah. And one thing I noticed immediately, you go so fast on that guitar, but yet you put, like, everything into what you do, everything, whether it be your riffs, your solos. So I was wondering, does it get under your skin when you see, like, I don't know, idiot YouTube comments that are like, oh, Zach has no soul, which they're full of shit. And I'm just wondering, what's the word I'm looking for? How does he let that affect you, and does it, and do you? Geez, sorry, it's really weird to be standing right here.
Nah, it's all good, man. No, I mean, for the guys that say I have no soul and everything like that, I completely agree with them. And I just, and they're like, dude, I have no fucking idea how he ever got that gig with Ozzy. I go, I gotta be honest with you, I have no fucking idea either. No, but or you just go like this when somebody goes, you fucking suck, you have no soul, and you go, that's a shame.
Yeah, the last one of these.
That's so unnice.
The last one of these we put up on YouTube. People in the comments were talking about how I'd gained weight since the one before. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cheers.
When people say, "Man, you really suck," and you just go,
Don't
"You should
read
see
the
what
comments.
JD has." Yeah, you should see what JD and my wife have to say about me. You know, I mean, so it's just, no, it's all good, man.
Awesome.
Cheers, brother.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Zach. I'm a huge fan. My name is Alex. So I've got 2 questions for you. So, okay, I'm sorry. I'm like.
What do you got?
All right, the first one's super quick. So, do you still think Limp Bizkit sucks?
No, I mean, actually, the whole thing, how that came about, I remember.
You heard their music?
No. Actually, I'm friends with the guys, so they're all good dudes. So, no, the funny thing is, we ended up doing one of the Royal Machines with Billy and the guys. We ended up playing over at the Roxy one night, and Father Fred was there. And we were sitting backstage, and Fred goes, he's like, Zach, let me see your vest, man. You know, so and then we ended up taking a picture together, right? And he's got the vest and everything like that. He's like, fuck Limp Bizkit, you know what I mean? So it's pretty funny. But no, Fred's a good dude, and actually Wes, all the guys in the band, they're all cool guys. But no, how that came about, I remember I had to go, you know, like we were talking about the record company thing and all that stuff. So after, you know, like the same thing. It was just like after I did the Book of Shadows thing, I wasn't with Geffen anymore. I didn't have any record deal and nothing like that. And, you know, like the climate of music was changing. And obviously you had Limp Bizkit and the whole rap rock thing was going on. So everything else is kind of, you know, you're damaged goods, you know what I mean, at that point. So I didn't have any label, you know, so just we're done. And then it's like, so I'm making the rounds talking to these record companies and you know, like here I am, I'm, you know, damaged goods over here. And it's just like, they're like, well, Zach, you know, this whole, you know, thing you're doing now. I mean, it's just like, maybe if you were more like, and they look back on the thing on the wall and there's a picture of Limp Bizkit and they go, well, maybe if you're more like, you know, Limp Bizkit, it would be an easier sell. And, you know, and it's just like everything we were talking about because, you know, and at the time, I mean, Limp Bizkit selling 60 gazillion records and they're the biggest band in the world. So, I mean, it once again, it makes sense. But I go, so let me get this straight. So if I put a fucking Yankee hat on backwards, start wearing some fucking baggy clothes and put some Vans on and start going, yo, 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 that's going to fucking fix everything. I was like, you know what, go fuck yourself. And I just fucking walked out of the place. And that's where the whole fuck Limp Bizkit thing came from. Because, I mean, at that point, I was just like, so basically what you're telling me is I got to quit and get some shitty job that I can't stand. Go fuck yourself. So, I mean, that's how the whole fuck Limp Bizkit thing came about. So, I mean, it was me basically fighting for my life, you know, just going, no, I ain't going to fucking lay down and quit. You know, so, but that's how that came about. But no, as far as Fred and the guys go, no, they're all great guys and everything like that. So, but people still come up. So, you know, it's like, hey, you know what? Fuck Limp is like, fuck you too, Zach. That's all good. You know, because Zakk Wylde has no soul anyway. He's a piece of shit.
And also really quick, my second question, because you're saying you listen to everything, and so do I as well. Like, I love hard rock, heavy metal, like James Taylor, like singer-songwriter, you know, classical music, flamenco, everything, southern rock. So like when I'm writing my music, I'm like writing a solo, and I'm like, how do I like make it stand out? I want to like incorporate everything I listen to, but I don't know how to like incorporate everything in one solo and make it like cry, you know.
I think if you put too much thought into stuff, I think you just play what naturally comes out of you and what you like writing. If you write something then it's like a James Taylor thing, it's just like cool, that's awesome. You know what I mean? And if you write something that has a little bit of classical stuff in it, you know, whatever, or you know, like a certain part, the middle breakdown has a little bit of a classical influence type thing, then just do it. But I don't think, you know, I think you just have to play what you love. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like Jimmy Page always says, like when he listened to the first Zeppelin record, like Jimmy Page loved folk, he loved, you know, the heavy blues, he loved all the old blues stuff, and then he's like, man, if we can just put all that into one, you know, that's what I want Zeppelin to be. You know what I mean? I mean, like he had a focus and a vision, like what you're talking about. You know what I mean? But I think it's at that point. I mean, Jimmy's just playing what is he naturally is gravitating to. You know what I mean? And what you're around. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying, like even with Lord Iommi and everything like that, it's just heavy blues. I mean, with all those guys, when that explosion was going on with Cream and everything, Cream was the first ones, you know, that started doing that. But really, the first heavy metal riff ever was probably "Sunshine of Your Love." But I mean, it's just and everything just everyone was playing. It was just heavy blues. But I mean, it's just like everyone's just playing what they love. You know what I mean? And I think your stamp is going to come out of that. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, when you listen to any of the bands, I mean, if you listen to Green Day, they were just playing music that naturally comes out of them, but it's from the influences that they love. You know, whether it's the Sex Pistols, the Clash, it's this one, it's that, with some bands, underground punk bands you never even heard of. You know, where Billy Joe would just go, Zach, these guys are my favorite guys. And it's like, wow, I never even heard of them. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, well, they really weren't that popular, but I thought they were the best. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think, you know, you just have to play what you love. It all comes down to that.
Thank you so much. I love you,
got it.
Zach. You're
Right
awesome.
back at you now.
Yeah, and I think when you combine the things that you love in a way that hasn't been done before, because it's through the prism of your own experience, I think that's where the great stuff comes from. Because, yeah, everybody, you know, I always think like Metallica, like it's, if you reverse engineer it, it's Diamond Head plus Motorhead. But it's through the experience of those four guys and their lives, and their,
totally.
you know,
and it's going
that's
to
what
be
makes
their
it different.
interpretation on it,
Yeah.
which is going to make it sound like them. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just like when you listen to Jimi Hendrix doing All Along the Watchtower, it's his interpretation of it. You know what I mean? And then you listen to the original and you listen to Jimi Hendrix's. It's just, you know, it's Jimmy's spin on it and his you know, so everybody has their own unique fingerprints and the way they're going to do it. So, yeah, I just think, you know, what separates, you know, Richie Blackmore from Tony Iommi, from Jimmy Page and Jeff Beck, they're just playing, and they're all playing pentatonic scales and they're playing blues. But listen to each one of them. They all completely sound unique when you listen to their vibrato and you listen to everything. I mean, you're like all these guys we're talking about. I mean, they're all of them are drinking from the same pond and playing the same scales, but they all sound completely different, that's the beauty of music.
Hi Zach, you are my all-time hero, and you are the man like let me decide to pick up guitar and come here to learn guitar.
Sure,
and I was about to ask you another question, but like my guitar was stolen right here this week, and it still will be found right now. So could you share any experience the guitar was stolen and how you track them back, or yeah.
So what's the question?
His guitar was stolen. I think he's asking if you stole it. No, he's asking if you've had any experience with that and what any advice about
what
happens.
I've had a guitar stolen, so I've actually had a couple of them stolen. But no, I would think obviously go to pawn shops and and put word out that and let the pawn shops know if that guitar comes in to give you a call or whatever. You know what I mean? If they can contact you. You know what I mean? Pawn shops, and obviously go on eBay and stuff like that, because as much people will put it on there. I ended up finding my guitars because the guys went down. They obviously, it does nothing if it's sitting in their house. If they, they want the money. You know what I mean? So I would check the pawn shops and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Definitely. As many pawn shops as you can, man. And just, give them a picture if you have a picture of the guitar, and just give them your contact info. And just say, man, if that thing comes in here, if you could buy the guitar, and I'll come back and buy it from you guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would suggest.
And may I have another question I was planning to ask? So, I was your huge fan, so I have your same pickup, same guitar, same like pedal right here, and I plugged to a GCM 800 that you was using, but I can't get your tone, so I guess there's something in your hand. So so do you have any suggestion to improve tone, to make close to your thick sound from
No, well, like I said, I mean, when we do the Generation X thing, I mean, the minute Steve picks up a guitar, instantly I know it's his vibrato. And Yngwie picks up a guitar, within 2 notes, you already know it's him. And the same thing with Nuno. And when Tosin picks up a guitar, I immediately know. I know within a matter of no. They don't even have to sit there playing for 5 minutes where you go, I wonder who's playing right now. I know immediately who's playing what, because everyone sounds, like you said, everyone could be playing the same scales. Everyone has their own touch when they're playing. So, no, I think, I mean, that's what's so great about it. I mean, I think if Keith Richards picked up any guitar and played Start Me Up, it would automatically sound exactly like the record. It just would. It wouldn't matter whether he's on a Strat or a Les Paul or anything, a double neck. It doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? Because it's in your hands. It really is. You know what I mean? So, no, I think as far as, I mean, with me, as far as the guitar tones go, obviously you're going to sound, like what you're going to sound like. But, the whole thing is, obviously you want to have a good sounding rig. For me, it was, well, I'm using my Wild audio amps right now, but for forever, it was my Marshall JCM 800s, the 2203s, the 100-watt tops, and I'd have 6550 groove tubes in them. And this way you just always knew, and any of my friends that would play through my rig, it always sounded, it's like a pair of Levi's and a t-shirt and t-shirts. It just automatically going to be good. You know what I mean? I've never had a problem with any of them. Even when I bought them on eBay and everything like that, just plug straight into it like a band. It was perfect. It sounds great. So, yeah, I just, and the EMG pickups for sure. And then, and with my distortion pedal, that one that you got right there, it's just, that thing, it's perfect in regard that it doesn't change the sound of your amp. It just, all it does is give you more of your amp. So, you just want more sustain. That's all you want, it's just, but, I turn that pedal off. I could play Highway to Hell or Back in Black without it feeding back or anything, you know what I mean, with the volume all the way up. And so, and I turn it down, I can get clean. So, for me, it was always just to keep the rig as simple as possible. With the Marshall JCM 800s, I've never plugged into one of them that wasn't good, ever. You know what I mean? Just plug it in. Whether we were renting them or whatever. When we're down in South America and we're renting a whole back line. I've never used these amps before. I just plug into. If I know it's a JCM 800 and I plug into that thing, I know it's going to sound good. Just because the setup is so simple and it's basic. It's like macaroni and cheese. How can you fuck this up possibly? You know what I mean? So it's just simple. So but. Yeah, for me, that's what it's always been. You got it, brother.
Awesome. Thank you.
What's up, Zach?
Sorry,
I'm more, you brought up Tosin and Generation X, and I more just wanted to ask, what's your opinion on his kind of playing and that new generation of, shred guitar that's kind of coming out now? What's your opinion on that?
No, I think, put it this way, when people were saying guitar's dead and whatever, I go on social media, there's so many amazing players, man. Which is awesome, because that means guitar is healthy. You know what I'm saying? So, things come in and they come out, and it is what it is. But Studio 54, when it was huge and disco and everything like that, it was a movement, and then everybody's like, oh, disco's dead, like in 1980. And it's like, no, it's just, now it's rave. You go out to a rave club, it's just disco dressed up with different clothes on it. I'm just saying, it's just, but it's still at the core. It might as well be Studio 54, but it's just boom, 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 dun, 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 you know what I mean? So it's just, it's BPM and it's rave music, but it's still, what's the difference? You know what I mean? So, it's just like, it's just dressed up differently. So, I think as far as guitar goes, yeah, there's great players that are, like when we were just out not too long ago, you had Jared James Nichols, then you have Tyler Bryant was out, and they're younger guys and they're playing blues, which is great. So that they're playing, and then Greta Van Fleet, they're having a lot of success, which is great, because all that's going to do is inspire younger kids to want to find out about Led Zeppelin and find out about Black Sabbath and find out about Cream and Jimi Hendrix, because it just leads you back to that. You know what I mean? It's just like any kids that if they're into, Kobe Bryant, it'll lead them back to Michael Jordan. Then they'll find out about Michael Jordan, then they'll find out about Dr. J, and then they'll find out about who inspired him. And then, you just do your history lessons and you go back and you just, which is always cool. And you go, oh, so that's where I got it from. You know what I mean? So, which is a beautiful thing, because everyone has their unique stamp on it. So, but I think, all the guitar players that I see on social media, I think it's awesome. I think it's great that there's that many people that are interested in guitar, and they're great players. It's not like they're playing jive. You know what I mean? They're like really, really good players, man.
Awesome. Thank you. Just a couple more, obviously. Yeah, and I think to your point, when that band Him was blowing up, I remember Billy Vallo in interviews would tell people, like, I'm just doing Typo Negative plus Black Sabbath with a little U2, and it's like, obviously he had created something new, but to kind of acknowledge that blueprint and send people backwards, like you were saying, to reverse engineer and learn about
totally. I mean, because it all comes from, everybody gets inspired, you know what I mean? And it's just, but like you said, it's your interpretation on it and the way you play it. I mean, like Jimi Hendrix didn't invent the blues and he didn't invent the pentatonic scale, but it's his interpretation of, you know what I mean? So, I mean, like, think about it. You have Jimi Hendrix, you have Jeff Beck, you have Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page and Tony Iommi and Richie Blackmore. They're all playing pentatonic scales, you know what I mean? And it's just like, but like I just said, every one of them, it's their interpretation of it, and they're all uniquely, legendarily amazing. Every one of them. And the minute you hear any one of those guys I just mentioned play like probably 2 to 3 notes, and you hear their vibrato, you automatically know who it is. And that's it. Put Angus Young in there. The minute you hear Angus Young, you know who it is. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, you hear a couple vibratos, it's that's Angus. You know, so, yeah, I just think, with everybody and any player, whether it's Alan Holdsworth or whether it's Al Di Meola or Steve Morris or John McLaughlin.
Or Zakk Wylde.
Or Frank Murray. Well, we won't include him. He's soulless.
Yes, sir.
How's it going, Zach?
Cheers, brother.
It's great to see you, man. Jason came out from San Bernardino.
Cheers, brother.
We had a good long drive, so we're coming out, and naturally we put on the Black Label, we put on the Zakk, we crank up the music, trying to get pumped for the event, and I'm sitting there and I'm driving, I'm thinking to myself, because we got the Zakk, we're pumped, and I'm wondering, number one, I'm wondering what Zack's playing on the way over here right now, just kind of wondering what he's listening to, just kind of offhand and whatnot, and kind of wondering what you listen to just to get pumped for an event, So just kind of those two things, what were you listening to earlier today?
What are you talking about, before shows and stuff like that?
Yeah, before shows, and just kind of wondering what you were listening to offhand today.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I think last night I put some Zeppelin on before we started playing. But I remember because it was like the last school day, so all I remember I was cleaning getting all my stuff together in the bus and everything like that in the submarine. I just put some Zeppelin on just because I had to clean up before we were going on stage, actually. So, but yeah, I'll either put that on or I'll put some mellow stuff, just either mellow. But like I said, I'll put everything on. I'll put some Al Di Meola on. I'll put some John McLaughlin on, Frank Marino, Robin Trower, just anything. But like I said, I mean, Elton John, it doesn't, I'll listen to everything. Crowded House, I mean, it doesn't matter,
I love Crowded House.
Cheers, brother. Yeah, without a doubt, they're amazing.
Finn Brothers.
You got it, my brother. Cheers.
Thank you. And this will be our last question.
Hey, Zach. Good evening. How you doing?
What are you doing, my brother?
Our second to last question.
Yeah. I'm Thomas, and Dylan right here is my son. I got to be honest with you, man. Every time we've had the opportunity and the pleasure to meet you, you're gracious, you're warm, right? Like, you make everybody feel like they're part of the family, right? It's a big family.
Cheers, brother.
As
back at you.
You know what I mean? Thank you. As we all look at you as this huge rock star, okay? How do you maintain staying grounded, right? Because obviously there are people in here that are hoping that one day it hits, right? They become the rock star. How do you maintain staying grounded and being just every day?
I don't think, put it this way. I mean, like, if you're a tool bag and you have no money and no fame, you're going to be a tool bag when you do have money and you have fame. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that has. I really don't think it has anything like, whatever morons you knew in high school, where you're like, Zach, that dude was a complete asshole when we were in school. I go, now he's just an asshole with money and fame. I mean, it's just, I don't think it changes anything. It doesn't, because I mean, the way you got here is putting the work in. You know what I mean? You still have to practice. You still have to do everything, and you can always get better. So, I mean, that's the way I've always viewed it. And ever since I was when I played Little League or Pop Warner, you have to put the work in Doesn't matter what you want to do. You want to get good on the guitar, you got to put the work in. You want to get good on the piano, you got to get good at anything. You got to put the work in. So I mean, as far as being grounded, I think you either have either are or you're not. I mean, like what I'm just saying is like with Ozzy, I remember Pete Mertens and Pete, he'd known Oz long before Sabbath when they were kids, right? And I remember, Ozzy walked away from the table one day and they were just cracking. He was telling me some funny stories between the two of them when they were kids and stuff. And he goes, Oz, the best thing about him, Zach, he goes, that motherfucker hasn't changed one bit since we were kids. Like Ozzy hasn't, you know what I mean? He's just been the same big, warm-hearted guy. I mean, and like it doesn't, I'm just saying, like even with Oz, I mean, here he is, this legendary guy, this game-changing guy, and to him, he's just like, you would never, he just couldn't give two shits, you know what I mean, about being famous or anything. He just is like, we're having a good time. He goes, let's go do this, and so we can get home. So, but no, I think that's, I really think it has nothing to do with anything, because you know what I mean. You're still going to be the same person you are whether I give you $5 million or whatever. You're just going to go, Zach, this is nice. Now I could buy my parents a house or something. You know what I mean? So it's just like you could do nice things with it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Thank you for being an inspiration to all of us.
Yeah, cheers,
Appreciate
brother.
it.
Well, right back at you, man. Cheers.
Yeah. Are you going to be our last question? All right.
Thank you, dude. What's up,
Cheers,
brother?
brother.
Man, it's such an honor, dude. Hey, I was just wondering, dude, like, Ozfest starts off in San Bernardino, like, every year, I just was wondering. I was wondering, like, Ozfest starts off.
I've been playing with Ozzy for 30 years. I can barely fucking hear, bro.
So Ozfest starts off in San Bernardino every year. I was just wondering if you ever stop at Randy's grave, he's out there, just pay your respect or whatever,
Yeah, no. I've been to St. Rose's gravesite, and I'm friends with the family.
Oh,
So yeah, it's awesome. And then actually our oldest daughter was taking piano lessons from Mrs. Rhodes.
Nice.
So
nice.
yeah, without a doubt. So it's super
yeah.
cool. But yeah, I mean, without, I always say, I tell everybody, with Ozzy and Randy and everything like that, if this was the Catholic hierarchy, Ozzy would be God, Randy's Jesus Christ, and the rest of us are all pontiffs, just carrying out the gospel. You know what I mean? So, but they created, the Bible. You know what I mean? I'm just saying everything stems from them, and then, we're just out there continuing.
Yeah,
what those two records, they're just monumental. I mean, between, Blizzard and Diary, that's the template for what it's supposed to sound like. So, then the rest of us just keep, I'm proud to be John Paul II. I'm very proud of that. So, but it's it's definitely an honor, man, for sure.
Yeah. I always wondered, could you guys travel through there? Just pay your respect and shit. That's so dope. Totally. Nice.
Awesome.
Nice, so dope. Thank you, bro.
Thank you. And all of my friends who knew that I would be with Zach tonight have been texting me all day, calling me Father Ryan. So it's you're just a beloved figure.
Yeah, well, that's the run of the joke. I think we were just talking. Well, I'm Catholic, so I mean the whole thing is the run of the joke is any of our buddies Slitzy and this like he's Jewish, and then we got all our other buddies rolling around. So we're just saying how confused everybody is with the whole thing. So we're just calling everybody Father this, Father that, and they're like, he's an atheist. Oh yeah, Father Tom, yeah, I know that. Or this one's a Satanist. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, Father Andy. Okay, you know what I mean? So it's just it's just a running joke we got rolling around with us.
Love it. Love it so much. Well, thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Well, cheers, man.
Zakk Wylde.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for coming down.